lot of interesting suggestions. One thing, requiring state prisoners to pursue GED.
Yeah. Average state prisoner is there for 11 years, so they've got a lot of time. Average state prisoner has a 4th grade education. We ought to incent those prisoners, maybe as a condition of parole, to get a GED. You don't have to hire teachers. You can do it through technology now. There are programs you can buy. But there was a study done. New York has been very aggressive in this. There was a study done in New York and I think in Florida that shows that the recidivism rate drops dramatically among those prisoners who get a GED while they're in prison. And we have the highest incarceration rate in America. And every year we turn 15, 20,000 prisoners loose. 50% of them are going to come back. They get out, they are an ex-con, they got a 4th grade education, they can't get a job, they commit a crime, they come back. If we could require them to get a GED while they're in prison, it would help them to be employable. Now, I know some people in prison, they may have an inability to get a GED, but for those who can do it, we ought to really push them to do it. It works. It's a humane thing to do, but equally important, it saves taxpayers money.
I don't suppose there's any button you can push to make the people of the state care about the other people of the state.
No. No.
It's always gonna be-
But it's been my experience, Ted, most Louisianians are pretty caring people, you know. I've lived in 5 states, a foreign country. I've never met people like the people of Louisiana. I was raised here. You know, they're God-fearing, they're hard-working, they're very fun-loving. We talked about Texas, and Texas gets a lot of publicity, and they're 5.5 times bigger than we are, but we're 10.5 times more interesting than they are. and the reason is our people. I mean, it's our people, and they're caring. You know, they deserve a state government as good as they are.
Pound for pound, we got it going on, huh?
Yep. And I love Texas, but we're more interesting.
What should I have asked you that I didn't ask you about?
Whether I think we'll succeed in all this,
Do you think we'll succeed in all this?
I don't know. We're going to know in 6 or 8 months. You know, I hope we will. I know we can. But so many times in the past, instead of making the changes, we just slapped a Band-Aid on it, or kicked the can down the road, or said, well, we'll put that off for another day or another time. And we've been doing that for a long time. And we've sacrificed our long-term prosperity for our short-term pleasure. This budget problem is real, but it's not insurmountable. We will get through this. We're going to have a balanced budget. The issue is, will we come through it as a better state or a weaker state? And that's important for you and me, but that's really important for our kids and our grandkids. And that's why I say this debate, this discussion is not about this year or next year. It's about where the state's going to be a decade from now.
I am absolutely no fan of big government. I believe in a government that should be responsive to the needs of the people and emergencies, borders, internal security, other things.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that people need to basically do things for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I left state government, left working for the government,
Mm-hmm.
because it wasn't working for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I have faith in the state, and I have faith in the people of the state. Are you, and I have no idea what your position is on the national health care scene, the national health care bill. Any thoughts about the recent opinion of the judge that it's unconstitutional?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll leave it to the judge on the constitutionality. I'll just talk about the policy. I thought that the president's plan was a disaster. They drafted it. They talked to everybody except the healthcare professionals who deliver their care. They decided they were going to emphasize access, but equally as important as access is affordability. The real problem with our healthcare delivery system in America is the fact that the costs go up 8 to 12% every year. the quality of the care. I mean, I'll put our doctors and nurses in America up against any in the world. It's not the quality of the care. It's the way the care is delivered. It's very expensive. I thought the president's plan is going to make it more expensive. It's going to drive people, when you add 30 million new people to the system, increase demand, but you don't add new doctors and nurses, you don't increase supply, you're going to have a problem. And you're going to have a lot of these new folks that are going to have a tough time finding physicians to treat them, so they're going to show up in emergency rooms. That's what's happening in Massachusetts right now. So your costs go up even further. And if they had bothered, that the Congress, most congressmen never even read the bill, and they made a lot of unseemly deals over their votes. If they just stopped and talked to doctors and nurses and hospital administrators and lab techs who are delivering the care, they could have told them. But they didn't. It became a political free-for-all. And we ended up with what we ended up, and I predict that we'll spend the next 5 to 10 years talking about changing it or repealing, whether the courts rule it unconstitutional or not.
Anything else? Any final comments? Or
No, I've enjoyed being here. It's been fun. I like doing this.
our guest today, John Kennedy, State Treasurer of Louisiana. Thanks, John.
You bet. Thank you, Ted.
All right.
My pleasure.